Hi everyone, it's Tanya from Cuppa Cha. In this episode, I have Kym from the Steepery Tea Co. with me again, and we're going to be talking about cupping tea versus tasting tea. And I am a big promoter of cupping tea. It's the way you should be evaluating your tea. And Kym and I are just going to talk about what is actually the difference between the two, because I feel that some people confuse tasting tea with cupping tea. So we're looking at the what, the how, the when, and the why of it all.
Yeah.
So Kym, when you're looking at what is cupping tea versus tasting tea for you?
I guess cupping tea is really an evaluation of the tea. You get a lot of information in terms of the quality of the tea, and I guess the good and the bad side of every tea and what it can present through that cupping process.
Yes.
Tasting tea, I would say, is more for the enjoyment of the tea. So you're trying to get that balance of flavour and aroma so that you can sit and enjoy a nice cup of tea.
Yeah.
But very different processes and reasons for doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you cup tea and how do you taste tea?
Sure. I guess I normally cup tea, particularly when receiving samples, when I'm evaluating new shipments that have come in, making sure that they're similar to what I've cupped in the sample, and in terms of what I actually do.
Yes.
I would use a professional tasting set, a cupping set, which is the lid with the little teeth and the cup
and that's 150 mils.
These ones are 150 mils. Yeah. And they're just easy for keeping everything standard. So by having a number of them, even when you're just pouring the water in, you don't have to fiddle around with measuring cups and things. Yeah. And then just the cup to extract the liquor at the end, and the tasting spoon for hygiene reasons.
Yeah, for hygiene. Did you hear that? Hygiene reasons. I think it's pretty important. I think the white as well is important for reflection. Of the colour of the liquor, to be able to look at it and everything. So then for tasting tea, you can see the remnants of our last video here.
That's right.
It's according to the style of tea, really, isn't it?
It is, that's right.
And it's brewed at a lower tea to water ratio, or though sometimes higher.
With that's true.
With
actually,
the Guy
with
one.
the Guy one.
Yeah. Because for me, cupping is the 3 grams per 150 ml. But if you're doing Western style, it starts going around the 2 gram mark.
That's right.
But with Guy ones, it can be anything from 6 to 10 grams or more.
That's it. That's right.
Yeah. So you were talking about, so now we're looking at like when and why, and you were talking about when you cup.
Yeah.
It's like for testing samples.
That's right, yes.
Checking the stock that has arrived is exactly what you cupped in the samples.
Yes.
And that does happen.
For
For me, it's also assessing the stock as well, like over time, making sure that my tasting notes, it's still tasting the same, it's still acceptable to sell.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you cupping, what are you looking for in the flavours?
I guess just those notes that really sing out in terms of the brightness of the flavours.
Yeah.
And then obviously those ones that you notice that really are off-putting or negative or detracting from the brew.
Yeah. That's the sort of thing I know I look for. I also then look at the wet leaf too. Yes. That confirms a picking standard for me, the plucking standard.
That's right. Yeah.
How it's been plucked.
Yeah.
If they're selling me a hand plucked and it's actually machined.
Yes.
Right? Which is not a problem, but you will pay more for it.
That's right.
So just want to make sure what you're paying for. Especially with things like Oriental Beauty and that, you want to make sure if you're paying the high dollars that it is a good quality there.
Yeah.
I know for me, I look for something if there's a funny note in there.
Yes.
In the flavours, I'm looking for a balance of flavours. If it's in milk oolong, I'm looking for the creaminess and the butteriness.
Yeah.
If it's a Longjing, I'm looking for the nuttiness, the chestnut type flavours and everything. Yeah. So when else would you cup? Like I'm promoting people to look at cupping to evaluate.
Yeah.
You take cupping, the lessons and everything, don't you, further?
I do, yes. I think I particularly find that people that are emerging in tea and really are wanting to understand what they're drinking, I like to give them the skills to be able to cup properly, so that as they start to gain a baseline for different styles and types of teas, that they can then have something to reference to each time.
Exactly.
So I find it such a useful skill and something that should be, once you decide that you're going to be a bit more serious in tea, I think it's something that you should really pick up quite quickly. And it's probably those evaluation notes that come out of it, like that ends up to be a really good reference tool.
Oh, absolutely. And keeping your logbook.
That's
you know?
it, yeah.
And the thing is, cupping tea has been around for a long time. It is an international standard there.
Yeah.
It's been cupping coffee and cupping tea. It's been there the whole time, and it's just there's not a lot of people that are new into the industry doing it for some reason.
That's right.
They're tea tasting and they're going out to cafes and coffee shops and they're doing tea tasting, but baristas are actually very well trained.
They are, and that was what I was just going to say as well. The other reason that the other place that I find it really appropriate to share tea cupping is with skilled baristas that are also looking to either introduce a tea program into their own areas and into their cafes, or just for their own interest points. I think they're realising that that there's so many similarities with tea and the sort of aroma and flavour profiles, particularly when you're getting down to those really specialty coffees and filter style coffees. There's that tea also has that range of and versatility and diversity there. So they've got that skill set to be able to evaluate tea equally.
Yes,
so
they certainly do.
That's a good place to take it
to.
Yeah,
exactly. And we've got some shadow coming in on us.
We do, I know.
But I think we're still pretty bright in this video. I know in a up and coming episode, I'm going to be talking about tea flavour wheels as well. And when you're starting off, I think a tea flavour wheel is quite handy, and there are tea flavour wheels out there.
That's right. Yes.
There's some good ones out there to look at, and I know the coffee industry uses tea flavour wheels.
Yeah.
But the coffee industry uses coffee flavour wheels, not tea. But that did come from the wine industry.
Well, I was going to say it comes from the wine industry.
It does.
Yeah.
So it does help you to identify flavours as well. Though I did read an article recently that Virginia from the Tea Scientist in America says that that we can really only identify 2 flavours, maybe 3 at best.
Really?
After that, it is just a lot of really good imagination going on there. So it's always interesting to keep learning, isn't it?
It is, that's right. Sure.
So I think today I'm hoping that people can get a really good understanding how important it is if you're coming into the tea world to learn to cup teas properly. I'm going to put a link below to my other cupping video for you to see all the parameters of how to cup teas. I'm going to have future videos coming up looking at the tea flavour wheel, looking at how to identify the flavours within your tongue region and your mouth as well, really to help you to identify those flavours. But today, Kym, thanks for joining me again.
You're welcome. It's
and
been a pleasure.
having this lovely chat. And if you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up, please. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It's free, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.